Hello and welcome once again to Jacob's Toys 5-minute figure reviews. Please do like, share, subscribe and all of those things. All support to the channel is very much appreciated. In this video we are taking a look at the Andrew Garfield Marvel Legends Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure. Now I say Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure because that's how it's branded, but of course we all know that this is based on his appearance in No Way Home. It's just because of licensing rights and stuff, there was something to do with the likeness. They couldn't get Andrew Garfield's likeness for the No Way Home merchandise, so they had to brand this particular figure in the Spider-Man Amazing Spider-Man 2 branding, which is something we'll get into in another video. Anyway, he comes with limit hands, so he comes with 2 web shooter hands, he comes with a masked head, and he also comes with 1 open palm hand, so 1 kind of wall crawling hand and 1 closed fist. Now, he does come with an unmasked head. Now, if I just move the light around so we can see it, it is a pretty good likeness. Now, like I've said in the other videos, Hasbro did release a 3-pack of this Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and of course Tom Holland Spider-Man. And there was a bit of a kick up on the internet about people once they released these as single carded figures with the unmasked heads, saying why couldn't we get the unmasked head in the Pulse 3-pack. I did speak to Ryan Ting at MCM London and he kind of cleared up what was going on there, and it is all to do with licensing laws and rights and all the rest of it to do with likenesses of actors. So I do kind of believe Hasbro on that one. I don't think they were trying to pull the wool over our eyes. Now, one thing I do want to point out on this figure that's very, very cool indeed, and I've just kind of moved it out of shot, is he has got a web slinger on his wrist, which is really cool. So that was a bit of annoyance because I moved him out of shot, but he has got a web slinger on his wrist, which is a nice little detail. Now, the figure itself is pretty much the exact same figure that we got in the Pulse 3-pack. There are very, very little differences. The differences come in the form of the accessories. So with this one, we get limited hands, and we of course get the unmasked head. Whereas in the 3-pack, we get more hands and no unmasked head. So if you have the 3-pack, like I have, you don't necessarily need to pick this one up unless, of course, you're particularly impartial to that unmasked head. And these have become very popular because of those unmasked heads. So licensing rights or not, it is obviously a good move for Hasbro because a lot of people, like myself, are picking up these twice. Now here it is. This is the Pulse box set on the right hand side of the screen, and of course the single carded on the left side of the screen. And they do look slightly different, but that is just down to the way that a light is hitting the body. I assure you they are exactly the same mould. They are the same figure, bar the hands and the heads. And as you can see on the Pulse 3-pack, he's got 2 wall crawling hands, and on the single card he's got that unmasked head. Now, as far as figures go, I actually think this is a really decent figure. Now, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield run of movies, the 2 movies that there were, are actually some of my favourite Spider-Man films and have been since they came out, even though they were critically acclaimed. And critically acclaimed, is that the right word? They weren't the most favoured films. They came after the Tobey Maguire films and people didn't like them or didn't tend to like them as much as those. But I, for one, I thought Andrew Garfield made a really good Peter, and I really like the fact that so many people were behind him after seeing him in No Way Home. Now, if I just swap the head over and put the masked head on, you can see they are pretty much exactly the same figure, apart from, of course, the hands. Now, for me personally, the single card release does annoy me because, as you can see, him displayed with 1 open palm hand and 1 closed fist hand just looks a bit mixed matched, and I'm sure that you can get him into some cool poses that would kind of utilise those 2 hands, but it just plays with my OCD. I like to have kind of 2 hands the same, especially if I'm posing him in like a vanilla pose. But all in all, this is a very good figure. It's a very good Spider-Man figure. It's a very good likeness of the Amazing Spider-Man. And if you haven't got that Pulse 3-pack, then picking up this single card release, despite the lack of hands, won't be the end of the world because you do get that very cool unmasked head, of course. But yeah, I mean, as far as figures go, there's not a huge amount I can tell you different than what I told you in the previous video where I looked at the 3-pack. It is a very good figure. It's definitely worth picking up. If you're a fan of Spider-Man or you're a fan of the film franchises, then it is definitely worth picking up. And that unmasked head is definitely a decent enough likeness of Andrew Garfield. Now, of course, these are 6-inch figures, so the detail on the head isn't the same as something you would get in a 1/6 scale figure. But for a 6-inch figure, the likeness is very good. They've used that photoreal technology. They've got the kind of hair on point. And next to the other figures, next to Tobey Maguire, next to Tom Holland, he definitely looks the part. Do check out my other videos on my page because I'm looking at as many of these carded figures as I can, and I've also done a video on how to get them out of the card without damaging the card. And of course, do like, share, subscribe and all of those things. All support to the channel is very much appreciated. But there you go, Andrew Garfield, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Thanks for watching.